The weapons of mass destruction, and missiles are on the Lord's band, and pointed at every nation. Time gets shorter. Crates of guns and ammo, from country to country they go. They pray that the people don't know.
Welcome back. This is the Republican, Jimmy Gann. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the Supreme Court and what's going on with that. There was a release today from Khanna. He's a Democrat out of California. That let's see if I can get it up here. He proposes a Supreme Court term limits appointment schedule without a constitutional amendment. So amidst the latest Supreme Court fight, Representative Khanna, California, will introduce the Supreme Court Term Limits Act to fundamentally reframe the power of our nation's highest court. Khanna's bill would establish 18-year term limits on any Supreme Court justices approved after his bill's passage. After their 18-year terms, justices would be allowed to continue their service on lower courts, as former Justice Souter and O'Connor currently do. Current justices would be exempt from the term limits going forward. The bill would then create a regular appointment process to allow every president to nominate a new justice to the Supreme Court during each odd year, guaranteeing each president the opportunity to nominate two justices per 4-year term. We can't face a national crisis every time a vacancy occurs on the Supreme Court, Representative Khanna said. No justice should feel the weight of the entire country on their shoulders. No president should be able to shift the ideology of our highest judicial body by mere chance. Most importantly, our country's top constitutional questions shouldn't be decided by a panel of jurists who are biding their time until the president of their choice is elected. It's time to standardize and democratize the Supreme Court. All right. So, that right there, I agree, I disagree. I mean, if just by chance, with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she could have retired when Obama was in office. She should have retired when Obama was in office, and then this whole thing wouldn't have happened. But she decided not to. Now, here's the thing. I don't think that an 85-year-old person can make the best decisions. You're talking about somebody who's making the decisions for 300 million people. And when you get up to 80, 85, I know 80, 85 years olds, like my grandmother, she lived till she was 106. And through her 80s through her 80s and most of her 90s, she was pretty well still on the ball. She could, do everything. But I don't know. It's tough to call that when it comes to somebody getting up in those age ranges. On the other hand, I don't know if I like the fact that kind of person can make rulings for the rest of us. Well, let's continue. Over the last 44 years, Republicans have held the presidency 24 years and appointed 15 justices. In contrast, Democrats have held the presidency for 20 years and appointed only 4 justices. Khanna's legislation will eliminate the arbitrary nature of Supreme Court vacancies by creating a regular, fair process that doesn't reshape the court for decades at a time. Well, it's all on how you play the game, too. I mean, things happened, and the situations were in favor of the Republicans, obviously, especially over the last 10 years. But I don't know. I had to look up why we have Supreme Court justices, why they get lifetime appointments. Appointing someone to the Supreme Court is one of the most important actions a U.S. president can make. That's because under the Constitution, Supreme Court justices have lifetime tenure unless they resign, retire, or are removed from office. This is distinct from most other democracies where high court judges either have mandatory retirement ages or strict term limits. So why not in the United States? Northeastern law professor Michael Meltzner, who specializes in the Supreme Court, said the intent was to insulate justices from partisan politics. That was put into the Constitution to preserve the total independence of the judiciary, said Mutzler. And the George J. and Kathleen Waters Matthews, distinguished university professor of law. Once a justice is confirmed and takes the seat in the court, they're not beholden to anybody. This makes Supreme Court justices free to issue rulings based on law rather than on political favor. A lot has changed since the 18th century when the Constitution was written, of course. The life expectancy of white males, the only population allowed to hold Supreme Court seat at the time, hovered just around below 50 years. In 2016, in the most recent data available by the World Bank, average U.S. life expectancy was 79 years, nearly 3 decades longer. This fact alone might be enough to reconsider justices' lifetime appointments. It's absolutely something that should be considered. There should be a healthy discussion in which the pros and cons are considered, and hopefully in a non-political way. Several technical problems would need to be solved in order to change the nature of the Supreme Court terms. Congress would need to find a way to stagger term limits so that one president doesn't get to dominate the court. It would also need to determine a structure for replacing justices who step down in the middle of their terms. The main policy consideration here is assuring that any new process doesn't damage judicial independence. Then again, changing tenure of Supreme Court justices would require amending the Constitution, which is no easy task, Metzler said. Now, this guy wants to do it without changing the amendment, without amending the Constitution, which is kind of sketchy, if you ask me. But from his, I've got his proposal right here. Right here, I got his proposal right here. And I got to tell you, it doesn't sound half bad to me. He answers the questions about the people who step down and who retire or die. It does have that. And there's 18 years. So I mean, this is kind of based on if you have what's been going on for the last 30, 40 years where you have Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat, Republican, Democrat. It would be even and fair if that keeps happening. But what happens if, like Republicans win the House for 16 years? Well, then you have 16 justices that are going to be in there for 18 years. You could have two Republicans that win 2 terms, or you could have 2 Democrats that win 2 terms. And then you got a stacked House. And then you can put in whoever you want to. There's no vetting. There's no, the president can put in whoever they want. So you can get a president who is a far right extremist, and he'll appoint these far right extreme judges. Whereas now, because of the lifetime, it's very tough to get these people vetted. And to be honest and to be fair, most of these justices have been pretty good. Even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who I would consider a lefty, she's cited on the right side of things a lot of times because it's what she does. It's her job. She doesn't look at these things politically. She looks at them legally. So, then you have like Roberts, who is a Bush appointee, who continually what we would think was going against the conservative narrative, but he just follows the law. That's all he does. So that's who you want, and that's why the Senate has to vet these people and actually vote on stuff. Now, the balance of power in the Senate is something else. Maybe we could put in another system besides just the Senate voting these people into office. I don't know. There's a lot of other things, but I being honest about this, not looking at this as a Democrat Republican thing. I do kind of like this guy's proposal. It's not bad, I gotta say, but I do understand, something like the lifetime appointments is because they don't want to be beholden. They don't want to have retribution if one of these judges kind of goes against the grain of what what they were supposedly put in there for. They don't want to be beholden to that, and that's the whole point of the lifetime. But on the other hand, again, somebody like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was in there until she was 87 years old, and you can't tell me and she was battling 4 bouts of cancer. You can't tell me that she was in the right frame of mind to make huge decisions like that needs to be made in the Supreme Court. So this is going to be going to the floor on the 29th. Today's the 25th. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think they're going to have to do a constitutional amendment, which would be tough to do. He's just trying to throw it in there as a bill. And the timing of it sucks. They should have done this 10 years ago if they were thinking about it. But they don't, because the Democrats just only go for what's good for them now. And, frankly, what's going on with that is their own damn fault, too, because they got rid of the filibuster. The last time that when Obama wanted to Obama had an appointment, they filibustered and then they changed the rules. And that's what happens. They changed the rules to suit their own needs at that time, but then now it's biting them in the ass. So, because if they still had the filibuster, they could be just filibustering, and this wouldn't even be an issue. This is something that they could just stop, and but they did it to themselves. So, looking at it objectively, I kind of like his proposal. Looking at it politically, it's horrible because they're doing it now of all times, and everything that's happening to them, they did to themselves. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do an update on this on the 29th, see if it passes or not. So, all right. Trump was just in Atlanta delivering remarks, doing a stump speech, and he just came up with the most amazing thing I ever heard. So I'm going to play that for you right now.
Damage Joe Biden inflicted on the black community over 47 years. 47 years. He always says, "Oh, I should have done this. I said, "You've been there for 47 years, It's always great when they tell you what you should be doing and they haven't done it themselves. And, it's not like it was 25 years ago that he left. He was there 3.5 years ago, right? So, it's one of those things. No one in Washington politics today has done more to hurt black Americans than Joe Biden. It's true. For half a century, Joe's personally advocated or enacted virtually every policy that has caused pain and suffering in the black community. You know that. Joe Biden shipped millions of your best jobs overseas, hollowed out the black middle class, and with open borders, trapped children in failing government schools, sent young men to fight in endless wars. They just never end. They're coming back home. You see that. They're coming back home. Many are already back. While our inner cities crumbled at home and made cities less safe and less secure, Joe Biden should not be demanding your support. He should be begging for your forgiveness. He really should be. My opponent drafted the 1994 disaster, the 1994 crime bill, which caused unfair sentencing disparities that devastated black families. And I mean, just devastated. I have heard more about the 1994, and when we did criminal justice reform, it was largely about erasing that terrible act. That was his deal. I rolled back the unfair provisions of the 1994 Biden crime bill, and I signed it into groundbreaking criminal justice reform, which people are so happy about.
All right, so they saw this U-Haul. They got it on camera. This U-Haul seen distributing shields, weapons, and loot to Louisville rioters, rented to Holly Zoller of Louisville Bail Project. All right. Now, this is another thing I've been following like for the last 25 minutes or so, because it's just things are going fast. So right after the verdict for the Breonna Taylor case came out, somebody got on video this U-Haul pulling up. I think it might be on here. Yeah, this U-Haul pulled up. There you go. They had all these signs and bats, and shields, and everything else all ready to go. I don't know who that douchebag is. This is a coordinated attack. Definitely a coordinated attack. And these people were there at the ready. So that I think no matter what the indictment was, even if these three cops were going to jail for 10, 20 years, I think if they still would have said that's not enough, they need the death penalty or some shit. You know, they were there at the ready. They were ready to cause trouble and burn this place down. Well, I saw that video, and then all of a sudden I was watching, and it popped up on Twitter and stuff like that these people were enhancing the license plates and enhancing the truck numbers and all this other stuff. And I was like, wow, this is going to be cool. And then I just saw this with the Gateway Pundit that they actually, a U-Haul employee saw that, and they called Holly Zoller, and she admitted that she rented the truck. The pre-parked truck was loaded with shields painted with anti-police messages, umbrellas, gas masks, and other riot supplies. So these people were there. These people are there to commit crimes. That's what they're there to do. Zoller confirmed it was her in a phone call from a concerned citizen who pretended to work for U-Haul. Then they have a picture. Somebody from U-Haul sent a picture of the reservation. A U-Haul employee has leaked logs proving that Zoller was behind bringing the supplies. Now, I saw this other thing. One of the things I saw on Twitter, I didn't think to save it, so I probably won't be able to find it again. This is like, I'm just telling you this as it's happening here, but a man just nearly pulled his gun in reaction. Crowd had to stop him. Louisville is on the edge. Wow. Wow. I don't know why you would be in Louisville tonight. I don't know why you would be in Louisville tonight, but if you are, if you're in a car and you get caught up in this stuff somehow, pedal to the metal, boy. You can fix your bumper tomorrow. You can't fix a bullet in your head. It's too crazy to stop anymore. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Hopefully they'll contain these people so that nobody gets caught up in this. But anyways, forgot what I was saying now. Oh, I mean, it was literally just not even 20 minutes ago when I saw that post of the license plate and things like that, and then I saw that. It was fast work. Fast work. Now, let's see what the DOJ does about it. Let's see if the Kentucky government, the Louisville government, will do anything about it. See if the cops will go after her. I mean, I don't know what I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. Maybe conspiracy to commit crimes, but I mean, unless you can prove that one of those shields or umbrellas or gas masks were used in a crime, I don't know. You know, she's so. From what I've been reading, she's like part of the George Soros crime syndicate. She gets paid by Soros to bail out these people, and that's what the whole gist of this is they just bail you out and they keep going back and keep going back, the same people over and over and over and over and over again, and it makes it look like there's a huge crowd because no matter how many times they get arrested, they just get bailed out and go back. It's like a rotating thing, so it looks like there's a lot of people doing this. There's a lot of people on their side, but it's not. It's a mirage. There's not a lot of people doing this. Most of the people out there probably would be peaceful if they, these other tards weren't there stoking the fires and making trouble. So, and I'll guarantee you half the people that you see in that video right there, they probably came from Portland. That's why Portland's not burning right now. So, all right. So I'll keep this up to date, and we'll see what happens tonight. Hopefully Louisville will survive. I hope. I was on Twitter. It's 5:55 in the afternoon on Wednesday, September 23rd, and Breonna Taylor just the three cops that were indicted with Breonna Taylor just got kind of two of them were not charged with anything, and one of them was charged with reckless endangerment or wanton endangerment because the shots went into the neighbors. Anyways, I was on Twitter and Burn Louisville was trending big time. And I saw a lot of people going, these are Russian bots, and I posted something to one of these people, and I was like, it seems like it's a Twitter bot. I mean, I've been taken off. I've had posts taken down off of Twitter for a lot less violent rhetoric and put into Twitter jail for a lot less than that, and they were just letting it go. Well, that was probably about 15 minutes ago, and now it's gone. So, all right. If it's gone, then Twitter did the right thing. I'll give them the props when they deserve it. Okay, so there's that. And yeah, here's the trending. It's gone. It was like number 2, number 3 trending like 15 minutes ago, and now it's gone. So. All right, Twitter. At least I'll call you out every time I call you and cut you in hypocrisy. But when you're not hypocrites, I'll give you the props for it too. So there you go. Okay. All right, that's it for me today. Make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and like and share and all that good stuff. I mean, I'm not very good at doing all this stuff. So, yeah, love you. See ya.